And I did a video telling him that I want him to apologize. But I simply stated, if you don't apologize, then you can't have a relationship with me. I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. I feel like it's Vlad disrespecting the culture. I don't feel like it's that big of a deal because he's been disrespecting the culture. Now you're taking personal shots at Dame Dash, one of our heroes, and making him out to be a bad father. And this is only appropriate in this business because we allow it. Because I talked to Vlad right after I put the video up that said, I'm not going to have a relationship with you unless you apologize. So he called me because we had a relationship. And we spoke. And we communicated like two intelligent individuals. Nothing to be angry about. It's nothing to be angry about because there's also a narrative around black people in hip hop that we're just a bunch of, apes and gorillas and all we do is, rap hate speech. And you don't have an understanding of how to monetize this without us giving it to you. And then when we turn around and we want to be compensated or we want to participate in the lion's share of what's being generated, then we're ostracized and jokes are being cracked. Oh my God, this guy asked for 250 million. Well, you wouldn't know nothing about that because you're not worth your talent doesn't equal up to 250 million. That's why the guys that are just okay at what they do shouldn't be able to talk about the greats. Charlemagne is great. Let Charlemagne crack jokes about Joe. Another great. But this is the point that I'm making. Lord Jamar and Godfrey, you guys decided that the way to rectify this situation, and I quote, Vlad said the only way he'll apologize publicly is if he can sit down with the minister and tell him face to face. So that means that he would get an interview. And this man said that he was going to reach out to Elijah Farrakhan to try to make it happen. Bro, please understand your value. Fuck Vlad. Understand your value as a black man in this culture. We hold Minister Farrakhan to a high regard and a high standard. We don't expect everybody else to do the same. We just expect for when they come into our culture to not disrespect our great ones. We don't need for DJ Vlad to understand how important and how powerful Farrakhan is. We don't need him to understand that. And him feeling like that he can negotiate the terms in which that he's going to respect our culture further lets us know that he hasn't the slightest idea who the fuck he's talking about. Not only are you not getting an interview with the minister, you would never sit in the same room as the minister. Who the fuck do you think you are, man? Why are y'all talking about this like this is even realistic? That's a joke. That's a farce. That shit will never happen. This has nothing to do with Minister Farrakhan. We don't need you to like Minister Farrakhan, brother. You have to respect the culture. And I was just giving you an opportunity to do so while there is no repercussion to you not apologizing. That's when you show if you really have respect for the culture. That's when you show, oh, I'm a guest in the House of Hip Hop and I'm a proud guest in the House of Hip Hop. That's when you show those moments where you don't have to apologize. You chose not to. You chose to use that moment as a moment to flex your muscle, but you're not strong. I'm not going to act like I can't just make you apologize if I want to make you apologize, man. If I just wanted shit to get violent, I can make you apologize like that. You know who you're never going to disrespect again, DJ Vlad? Rick Ross. Because he spoke to you using a language that you understand. You hear loud and clear. You understand that language. And I don't feel like it's helpful to the culture, nor is it healthy to my state of righteousness to relapse as a man and resort to easy acts of violence being sent your way to restore order. Easy. Nope, I won't do it. because it's not that serious. But please don't ever think that you're important enough to where you'll ever get a conversation with the minister. You misquoting the minister is not that important. We're giving you more pub right now than how important this situation is. It's not that important. And the only thing that's keeping you and your platform intact is the fact that we don't know our worth and our value. We're not all of us. Not all of us do. Me personally, I know mine. That's why the way I handled it was just no more relationship with you. You'll need me before I need you. I'll never need you for anything because your platform is not important to our culture. We always got to find a way to hold ourselves accountable for the role we play too. Oh yeah, well we rap about a lot of hate speech. We use hate speech in our rap. We talk about kill a nigga this and kill a nigga that. Man, listen, man. You can't have slavery, Jim Crow, Willie Lynch, oppression, redlining, subjugation, marginalization, the war on crack, mass incarceration, any of these things without some self-hate. Somebody who has always dragged around transgressions, who were born into his or her transgressions, and always suppressed feelings and never knew how to communicate, and has always been oppressed. You can't expect for somebody like that to find a means of expression and not expect to get the harsh truths. You can't expect for it not to be self-hate and projecting self-hate onto others and being frustrated at not being able to inflict harm on, the oppressor, so you harm the closest thing to you. You can't expect anything less than that. That's the many layers of the black man. Y'all don't talk about Martin Scorsese like this. Future made a big ass hit about Molly, Percocet, and lean. But so did J. Cole about people shouldn't do Molly, Percocet, and lean. You used to have the Wu-Tangs rapping about smoking weed with cocaine sprinkled on the top of it. And then brand new being made Slow Down. I think as long as there's always somebody there to balance it out, then it's all relative. What violent crimes have been linked to listening to rap music? We don't control mainstream media. The images of black people and black women that mainstream media would prefer for the world to see is what the world gets to see. The emasculation of the black man. Everybody got a mouthful of gold. Everybody's fucked up on drugs. Everybody's fake rich. Everybody's in a bad contract. Everybody's violent. Everybody's angry. Everybody's stank. Nobody's educated. Everybody's a stripper. Those are the images that they want you to see. You're going to blame us and our content for speaking our truth. How's that possible? Like, the police have obviously been given an elevated level of power. They've been empowered by the powers that be to carry themselves as more powerful than the citizen, than the taxpaying citizen. So they're allowed to ride around in their cars that they purposely put sirens on them to make sure that people know these are the guys in the uniform that get to police this shit. If the police pull me over right now and they say, Mr. Montgomery, you were speeding, I can't turn around and say, well, you had to speed in order to pull me over. So are you going to hold yourself accountable for your involvement? Because they're going to tell me this is not the time for that and possibly kill me. So black people, stop always talking about the role we play in things. You don't even know your fucking value. How are you going to tell us the role that we play in things? This is our culture. The only role we need to learn how to play is the role of solidarity. If you're in business with somebody and they're in a position to remove your voice, You are not in a position to negotiate anything, especially as it pertains to the nation. Minister Farrakhan snapped his finger and got 2 million people in one place at one time. Your fucking racist ass president can't even do that. Don't talk about that man like he's somebody that can sit down with DJ Vlad. Who the fuck is DJ Vlad? Jay-Z can snap his finger and end that platform. Drake can snap his finger and bankrupt Universal Records. The culture runs the shit. We just don't participate in the lion's share of the equity and solidarity. And we don't really need to, as long as we understand how important it is for us to support each other, not tear each other down. Trust me, there's tons of things I could say about Lord Jamar with what we've been through. But why would I do that? So it can be construed as me not recognizing the value that he brought to the culture? It's not worth it. And everything that I've ever said about Lord Jamar that would reflect anything other than that is a regret of mine. It only hurt us. Eminem only responded to Vlad and Lord Jamar engaging each other because it came from Lord Jamar. Eminem doesn't fucking care what Vlad has to say. Lord Jamar, that's a different story. And that's a legend talking about another legend's legacy. That's always going to be the case. So Marshall, being the gladiator that he is, the lyrical gladiator that he is, he responded on one of his records. That record is currently certified platinum. So he made money off of his involvement in it. Is Vlad going to tally up all of those videos of him and Lord Jamar? And is he going to add up everything that was generated off of those videos and give Lord Jamar at least 50% of it? Because when I spoke to him, he said, yo, Lord Jamar, he benefited from it. He, like the brand Nubian has been getting booked way more now because of my platform. No, they're not. They were getting booked way more because they got classic music that they did. And he got on your platform and said something that drew attention to your platform. Without the classic music, there's nothing to book. Fuck your platform. He added a certain level of validity to your platform. He added something legitimate to your platform. And he spoke about a white person in the culture who really does play by the rules of the culture and really does contribute to the culture. He spoke about him in a way that nobody else has spoken about him before. And that's what attracted the attention. Your platform is just your platform. It's just a big stage for people to go on and lessen their own value to raise your value. Vlad also told me, when he told me he wasn't going to apologize, that he's very cool with my song. Now, he knew that if he said that, that would pique my interest, because my son is a real nigga who's standing on the front line for black people every single day. And everybody knows that he's about integrity and he stands for something. And you know what he said? He said, me and my son are real tight. Anytime he's ever needed any kind of money or anything, I just did it for him immediately. And he told me, you know, like, me taking it down was enough. He told me I didn't need to apologize. First of all, any money that you gave my son, he's more deserving to that money than you are. You made that money off the sweat equity of people just like my son that look like him and stands for what he stands for. None of your actions add validity to anything that my son stands for. None of your actions. All of your actions say, I don't respect you, my son. And you know what you can always hide behind? All that I've done for you? What about the times I gave you money? Well, what about the times we let you live, bro? What about those times? Get on your platform and publicly thank my son for allowing you to hide behind him. Get on your platform and publicly thank Lord Jamar. Publicly give Lord Jamar a check. Thank Lil Bootsy. You think Lil Bootsy gets to have a sit down with the owners of Instagram about getting his Instagram back? No. Lil Bootsy's campaign, His "I'll give you $100,000" campaign to get his platform back made them more than $100,000. Just that campaign alone. This video that I'm posting on DJ Vlad is making DJ Vlad more money than it's making me. And it's only because of the state of the culture. We should do a better job of policing some of the things that we say when we're using our platforms. But that doesn't stop us from having guidelines and codes that people have to operate up under. You don't have to apologize. Just remember, we're always going to remember as a culture that when you had an opportunity to, you opted not to. And that's your decision. That's your decision. You flexing your muscle where you can and when you can. The people who should really be offended are the people who call themselves being close to you. And you're using them as a ploy to make it okay for you to fuck our shit up. And walk in our house with your shoes on and not wipe your feet and track mud all through. You're using your platform as leverage to do so. And I just want to let you know that it's noted. And when the right people start being like-minded at the right time, at the same time, in solidarity, we're going to get rid of you like that. And it's not going to be through violence. Violence is a cop-out. I don't get any fulfillment out of that shit. That's easy. You think violence is like a hard pill for us to swallow? We don't have a problem killing each other. What makes you think we would ever have a problem doing anything to you? It's the principle. You respect the culture, you have to show that you respect the culture. You should never be allowed to talk about Dame Dash. What he's created and what you created is not even, it's not even conversation worthy. What Suge Knight has created versus what you created is not even conversation worthy. Not at all. One day, we're going to have a meeting and we're going to all decide that you no longer need to exist in our culture. I'm just tired of all of my brothers feeling like they need to play the game or we need to play the game in order to be successful. That's not success, bro. That's not success. That's cool in Hollywood. Tyler Perry, on the other hand, he can say whatever he wants to say. You can't remove him. He operates outside of your paradigm. He dispels the whole myth. You have to use mainstream media in order to be successful. And my favorite one of all, there's not a lot of money in the black community. All of his movies are made about black people and for black people. And black people got his back, and that's why he's a billionaire. And that's why the way that he's building his legacy and the way that he's empowering himself economically and the messages that he's bringing across, especially when he gets on mainstream media stage to speak at a podium where he may have just received an award. There was one where he received an award. I can't even remember what award it was, but he was just talking about how he found a base that was like where Confederate soldiers were being trained to further fight to oppress Negroes, to oppress countless Negroes. And he said one Negro came and bought it and became a billionaire in this capitalist society that's socially engineered for us to either get killed or become famous and then go poor. And if we become famous and rich, we're automatically taught that we got to play the game even if we are the game. So why do you have to play the game if you are the game? They got to operate under guidelines that were set to keep black people oppressed and keep the amount of money that great men like LeBron James, the amount of money that he generates, to keep that kind of capital predatory always. If I got to keep telling you your value, then I can always make more money off you than you. It's very easy for me to say, yo, this is hate speech. Everything that's pro-black is considered hate. Everything that involves self-love and being about the elevation of self and people who look like self first, which will ultimately result in the elevation of humanity. Anything that is a reflection of that in America is considered hate, and it's considered violent, and it's considered racist. Ain't that crazy? So all of the horrific things that have transpired on the backs of black people, and all of the horrible weapons that have been formed against black people to prosper and to our detriment. All of the terrible acts of violence. And I speak about those things and how I feel about them in an aggressive manner, then that's considered hate speech. And then my entire voice and platform, all of the followers that I've accumulated, can just be removed just like that, regardless of what the Constitution says. And that's totally plausible. It's totally fair, because life ain't fair. And those harsh truths and those narratives being engaged and us asking and answering the tough questions, it's just a problem area for mainstream anything here. It's too easy to paint somebody as racist or angry. People who I thought were my fans did it to me. People who I thought became fans of me because they were introduced to me by Eminem. People who I thought recognized my talent the same way that my people recognized my talent showed me that I was wrong. They have a way that they expect me to talk. They have a way that they expect me to carry myself when I'm standing next to him. They have a problem with me being objective. I got to agree with everything that the man says. We can't just really just be friends. I got to agree with everything that the man says. Automatically, he created me. Automatically, I work for him. Automatically, he's done everything for me. Automatically, look what he's done for you. Watch your mouth, stay in your place, Negro. And Marshall is my brother. I love him. And he's done a lot for me. But nobody created this but me. And there's plenty of people who did a lot for me. He's just the only one that you expect me to thank from here to across the street for the next 30 years. And that's problematic to me. I can't identify with those kinds of people as real fans. So when I get in the comments and I tell you kiss my ass, it's because I don't care how you feel. Because you don't care how I feel. If I'm triggered off of somebody that looks like me being murdered by the police, and you decide that y'all need to stop resisting, like any of these things that have been happening is punishable by death, then yeah, we got a problem. We're going to have a huge disagreement. A huge one. Because the majority of black people feel like that they have to conform to every racial fucking construct that's in place, especially in the music business. It's normal to sign a 360 deal. It's normal to go on DJ Vlad's platform and detail by detail tell the story of crimes that you committed, and think that that platform is actually helping your brand by you incriminating yourself. And then turn around and say, yeah, we need to respect our women more. Yeah, we do. We do. We do need to respect our women more. We could start with Meg Thee Stallion. Guy come over from Canada to shoot the lady in the foot. Nobody has shit to say. So I can understand why somebody like DJ Vlad would feel like that it's open season to be a fucking vulture. It's his job to be a vulture. And I really respect how good he is at being a vulture. I really do. I think it's a place for all of that shit. As long as it's policed by us. We have to learn how to do that. We have to. And it has to start with us not tearing down one another. And it has to start with us standing for something in solidarity. Same regard that we hold the minister to, we got to hold ourselves to too, as well. Vlad is not going to ask for a Jay-Z interview. He's not going to ask for a LeBron James interview. He's not going to ask for a Rihanna interview because he knows that these people are bigger than his platform. So why on God's green earth would he ever think that he can get a Minister Farrakhan interview? Why did y'all even dignify that shit with a response? Let's stop talking about this man. Let him continue to be a vulture. Let him continue to be that. And when you're tired of it, we can come together and we can do something about it. Something real and something constructive, something that sends a message to the next motherfucker coming in whose culture this is. It's that simple. They do it to us all the time. They attack on every level. There ain't one black man in the history of niggas in America who has ever been treated by the corporation and the powers that be like a person of value. Every man, no matter how great, has always been treated or had some sort of incident where he or she was treated like they were disposable. Because that's what oppression is. And that's the same way we get treated when we get executed on camera and nothing happens. No arrests were made in the Breonna Taylor case. It's not even the case yet. There's already been a civil judgment of $12 million. Who gives $12 million to something where everybody's fucking innocent? So the one area where we have a voice and we have a little bit of control because we have the influence and we're starting to see what our value is, we're allowing people to come in and walk all over us. We're allowing that shit. We're being complicit with the wrong behaviors. We're going into business with people who adopt ideologies that are to our detriment for self-gain. We can't keep doing that. It's not difficult for white people to play musical chairs with the highest executive seats in the music business. Our culture dominates the market share. The opportunity within the corporate infrastructure should be a reflection of that. If that's not the case, that's discrimination. It's not, you don't need to see any other facts. You don't need to fucking give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Why are you giving people the benefit of the doubt? I can feel like that you're one of the most talented people in the world. As long as I'm the sole beneficiary of your talent and you're okay with that, then fuck yeah, I love you. I'll show you all kinds of love. I'll introduce you to my family. I love you. But the second you start wanting to be independent, the second you start wanting what you're worth, then you don't look as attractive anymore. It's like there are white people who aren't necessarily exhibiting racist behavior per se, not obvious racist behavior. And those are the same people who just love the idea of you. They fall out of love the second that they can't control you. If everything always comes down to what about all that I've done for you? Come on, man. All that I've done for you. Vlad's not in a position to do anything for my son. He should be paying his ties to the culture. He should be sending little boosie checks. He should be sending everybody who regularly goes on that platform and gives him content free of charge. All of that shit is worth money. Everything that is us is worth money, man. Everything. The fuck? Please know your value. Know your worth. Know your value. Know your worth. If I call you onto my platform 10 times in a row and I don't tell you how much money is being generated, and the reason why I don't tell you is because I don't want to have to share that money with you, then I'm taking advantage of you. I'm reaping the benefits off of everything that is valuable about you because you're incapable of seeing value in yourself. How is that respectful to the culture? How is that like a person who's a proud guest in the house of hip hop, who's proud to say that? And you built your platform off of the misappropriation of black culture. And you take your proud ass right to your computer and you hit record and you apologize to the culture for disrespecting the culture. If you can't do that, unless I have somebody come put a fucking chopper in your face, then you're not a proud guest in the house of hip hop. You're a vulture who's being given a pass by righteous men and people who aren't capable of seeing the evil that is you. Barack Obama being in office was the first time I've ever heard black people speak about children being drone struck in Bosnia. You motherfuckers can't even spell Bosnia. Now you care about innocent people being drone struck in Bosnia. So the self-hate, it's ingrained in our fabric. So that's a whole separate battle that we are fighting. But for now, if we're constantly looking at ourselves, how are we ever going to be able to hold anybody accountable who don't contribute anything? You wasn't letting niggas doing that when you were selling dope. Nobody just came into your trap house and just took shit out of your stash and just did as they wanted to. No, you would have blew their fucking head off. Because number one, it's the principle. And then number two, it's blatant. You can see it. It's tangible. Somebody's taking food out of your children's mouth. Well, guess what? This is the same thing. When my phone rang and I seen Vlad, I knew that he was just calling me to tell me he wasn't going to apologize. And he did that like clockwork. He talked about all the niggas he was cool with in the culture and how they told him he didn't need to apologize. And he told me he wasn't going to apologize. And I said, okay, cool, fine, no problem. The rules of the community and the codes of conduct that is the community, that same disciplinary swiftness is not applied across the board at all. At all. We are disciplined different. So maybe we might want to start doing some disciplining ourselves that doesn't involve violence. I can use my affiliation and my relationships with powerful gang members, my relationship with high-ranking members of the Nation of Islam, my relationship with important executives, black executives, my relationship with rich drug dealers, my relationship with cold-blooded killers that's in my own family. I can pull all of those resources together and create a bigger problem for any powerful white man in this record industry than they can create for me. And that is the honest to God truth in fact. The only thing that makes me different from you niggas is you niggas are afraid of something that you don't even know what you're afraid of. You've been conditioned to think that they're above you or they're better than you or that it was meant for them to make more off of you, off of everything that is you, that is special about you. You've been conditioned to think that they're supposed to monetize that. If you're a world-class athlete, you've been being prepped since a young prep athlete, since probably elementary school. You've been being prepped to go and do some shit on God level and that be policed by people who have no athletic ability, by people who have no kind of musical ability. And the reason why a lot of these cycles continue to repeat, especially in the music business, is that a lot of the black people who finally get in some sort of position and think that they're rich, because your richness is only a juxtaposition of your poorness. You come from nothing. So any carrot that they dangle over your head is gonna be fucking delicious. But guess what? It's only a carrot out of the complete fucking bounty that they are feasting on the back of your sweat, equity, and hard labor as a brilliant mind and a divine talent. We're plugged into this earth in a completely different way. And for whatever reason, when we start to shine, they want you to turn it down. When we start to control our narrative, they want to suppress that narrative. If it wasn't important for us to speak in solidarity, then it wouldn't be so important to them. Obviously, it means something. I don't see nobody coming down on Quentin Tarantino. He don't have a problem writing a script with 10,000 uses of the word nigga in it. He don't have no problems. He used that shit fluently. And he's being backed by valuable niggas. I've watched a couple Quentin Tarantino interviews, and I was uncomfortable listening to him talk about the usage of the word. If I start speaking in a way that makes certain white people uncomfortable, then all kind of threats come. Because you lack respect, because you've been conditioned to think less of me. You're used to me being less than you. So when I want more for myself, you ask me questions like, are you feeling okay? You've been acting real strange lately. Are you okay? I don't know. You're starting to get big. Oh, don't start getting arrogant. I ain't never heard nobody call Brad Pitt arrogant. Why Tom Brady don't ever get called arrogant? How many white people that are rappers or singers do you hear complaining about being in bad contracts? I know one. His name is Eminem. The only one I've ever known. Everybody else seemed to be doing fine. I know white producers who had 2 placements, and then next thing you know, boom, shot to superstardom. I know white producers who, if you look at the producer agreements and you look at the splits, they can play a guitar on a song. And they'll get a bigger percentage of that song than I'll get for producing the fucking song for somebody and having to clear a sample. It's happening in all shapes, forms, and fashions. And it's being construed as, oh man, y'all niggas need to chill out, man. Y'all bucking against the system too much. What? What system? What system? I don't buck against any system. I don't want to be a part of any system. I want to build a different system. I want to build our own system. I don't want to coexist with anybody who's not for me. And I don't want to coexist with anybody who's just telling me they're for me. And I don't have to coexist with DJ Vlad, and neither do you. The culture does not need DJ Vlad's platform. Sorry. So stop talking about that man like he's fucking Gaddafi or somebody. Who y'all think he is, man? Y'all think this dude is some sort of like tastemaker or something? You ever seen that guy? Is he fucking cool to you? Fuck that platform. It's not needed. Name one person that platform has helped. Name one. One artist that DJ Vlad's platform has broke. Because I can name plenty that his platform has got put in prison. You know what platform was used to create countless stars that never gets talked about? The Wayans platform. In Living Color. You had Jim Carrey. You had Jamie Foxx. You had all of the Wayans. What about Def Comedy Jam? You know Russell Simmons, the rapist? The rapist and the horrible executive who started Def Jam in his NYU dorm room, who gave you Russell Simmons and LL Cool J, and Def Comedy Jam, who gave you Dave Chappelle, Martin Lawrence, which gave us The Martin Show. All of these platforms, that's how you create black millionaires. Don't talk to me about no white people who made more money off of the black person than the black person made off of himself and say that the white person created that millionaire. That is false. That's how you create millionaires. That's how you break superstars. Keenan Ivory Wayans wasn't somewhere sitting around trying to figure out how to minimize everything that is Jim Carrey because he's white and he's worried about him blowing up too much and acting funny or feeling like he's a threat to his position. That's not how we move. So you can't project that same hate onto us. And Minister Farrakhan don't need Instagram. He don't need Facebook. He don't need Twitter. The message is the message. He doesn't need a conversation with DJ Vlad. And I'm sure they couldn't sit in a room long enough to have a conversation that even makes any sense. What would they talk about? What does DJ Vlad and Minister Farrakhan have to talk about, bro?